Lesson 3, why not do another day of two-step? Let's get that extra practice in because tomorrow you're going to have a CASEL learning, which counts as a quiz grade. We want nice 100s. So let's practice two-step one more time before we add on another step next week, which will be the distributive property and combining like terms. So I can solve two-step equations. So again, you should have 2 steps worth of work by isolating the variable and getting it by itself. So again, let's just practice a few more examples together and then we'll practice more in class because practice makes perfect. So problem number 1, 2x plus 4 equals 8. Again, notice just show all of your work. So even if you can guess a number off the top of your head for x and it works, not good enough. You have to show all of your steps. Goal is to get the variable by itself. Box it up to remind yourself that. The opposite of adding 4 is to subtract 4. Whatever you do to the left side of the equal sign, you have to do to the right side. 4 take away 4 is 0. I can cross those out. 2x equals 4. 2x means 2 times x. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Again, I do that on both sides of the equal sign. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Instead of writing 1x, I could just write x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X equals 2. Let's check it out. I write down the original problem. 2x plus 4 equals 8. I got 2 for x, so I'm now going to substitute that 2 in for x. PEMDAS, order of operations, I multiply before I add. So 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 4 does equal 8. So that checks. I know I'm good. Move on to the next problem. Problem number 2, box up the variable. The opposite of adding 3 is to minus 3 to get it over to the 15 on the other side. They're like terms, but they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, so you have to use those opposite operations. 3 take away 3 is 0. I can cross those out. 4y equals 12. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4. Do it to both sides of my equal sign. Y is equal to 3. Box it up. So I clearly can see that's your answer. Now I take my original problem, 4y plus 3 equals 15. I got y was 3, so I'm going to substitute 3 in for y. So this is actually taking everything that you've learned so far and putting it together. You have solving an equation, you have substitution, PEMDAS. So again, math just keeps building. So that's why it's important you keep up and you watch these daily videos. Order of operations, 4 times 3 is 12. Now I can add my 3, which is 15, which is what I should get. That checks. Let's do another color. Let's do purple. I box up my variable. Make sure you take the minus 2 that's attached to the variable and put it in the box with it. I'm not going to be adding 5. That minus goes with the 2x. If I add 5 to both sides, and again, don't write this, just watch. If I add 5 to both sides, 5 plus 5 is 10. That's not going to help me get the variable alone. I want a minus 5 because 5 take away 5 is 0, which then helps me eliminate that number on that side of the equal sign. So 5 take away 5 is 0. The opposite of a positive 5 is to subtract 5. Negative 2x equals 4. The opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. They reduce to 1, so I could just write x here. 4 divided by negative 2, so do the tic-tac-toe board or use your calculator. You should get a negative 2. I write down the original problem. I substitute in my negative 2, so now I have 5 minus 2 times negative 2. Order of operations, I multiply first. Negative 2, there's a minus in front of that 2, so negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. So now I have 5 plus 4, which is 9. And it checks. All right, one more. Box up your variable, which has a 2 attached to it underneath. The opposite of adding 5 is to minus 5. 5 take away 5 is 0. I can cross those out. Make sure it's always what you need it to be before you cross it out. 5 take away 5 is 0. I can eliminate that. They're additive inverses. Don't just cross it out. Make sure it is in fact 0. Oops. 17 take away 5 is 12. The opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 2. Again, 2 over 2 is 1, which allows me to write x here. So make sure it is what you need it to be. 12 times 2 is 24. Let's go ahead and plug that in. So I write down my original problem. I plug 24 in for x because that's what I got. Order of operations, I divide before I add. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And 12 plus 5 is 17, which is good news for me because that's what I needed it to be. Okay, so those are just 4 examples going over two-step again. We'll practice two-step again in class by doing the try these. Your Google form starts on the bottom of page 108 and spills over to page 109. I may put one of these review problems down here. So the review is always part of it. It's on the homework page. So the questions could be pulled from the review section too, but I didn't make the Google form yet, so I'm not sure. But I will be pulling from where it starts from homework, bottom of page 108, which continues to all of page 109. Make sure you show your work before you select your answer. And even though these don't say to check, make sure you check. Plug your answer in, whether it's in the calculator or on a separate sheet of paper, because we're going to know whether you checked your answer or not based on whether you have the right or wrong answers.